Shalom and welcome to Psychology of the Parsha for Parshat Matot. In this Parsha, the tribes of Reuven and Gad approach Moshe. Now remember, the Jews are stationed now and they can actually see almost the Promised Land. They are stationed in close proximity to where they're going to cross the Jordan River and enter this promised place. And they approach Moshe and they say, Moshe, we see the land here. We see the beautiful, amazing pastures available for our sheep, and we have an abundance of sheep. So we would like to stay here. We would like to remain here. Moshe's reaction was not so pleasant. Moshe actually became upset with them because it triggered a terrible memory. It took him back in time to when the spies came and they had a similar request. Their request was, we don't want to go there, we want to stay here. Really, this is not the time nor the place to get into the intricate details of how they were different, the request of Reuven and Gad versus what the spies complained about, what the spies wanted. However, to Moshe, at least initially, it hit him as sounding the same. So what did they do? They clarified. And they said, Moshe, no. We're not trying to, in any way, God forbid, take away the enthusiasm, the excitement of going into Israel. On the contrary, we want to expand Israel. That it should be not only there, but it should be here. And here too should be holy territory, and it should be part of the Promised Land. And in fact, we want to express our commitment. It's not like we're cowering from going there and fighting the war and helping conquer the land. Because this place has already been conquered, remember. Moshe has defeated the kings of Sichon and Og. We read about it a few weeks ago. And now conquered the land of Midian. So it's not about us not wanting to help the Jews to conquer the land, about us being cowards. On the contrary, we're ready to commit ourselves. We're going to build pens for our sheep here, for our cattle, and cities, developed, civilized places for our children, for our wives, for our families. And we will go and fight the war. In fact, we're not only going to fight the war, but we're going to be the trailblazers. We're going to be the pioneers. We're going to go ahead of the troops and be almost like the fighting scouts, the commandos, the special ops to help conquer Israel. When Moshe heard that, not only did he calm down, but Moshe actually was happy. He was excited. And he said to them, if you keep your word, this will be the most blessed thing. But there's something very interesting in the way he responded to them. If you look in chapter 32, in verse 24, he says to them, go ahead, build yourself cities for your children and pens, holding pens for your sheep, for your cattle. He changes the order. And Rashi tells us, even though he was now pleased with them, in fact, he was happy. And he was almost, you could say, excited about this idea now. He went from being upset to being excited. Wow, what a novel idea to now expand the holy territory of Israel. Not keep it limited to the other side of the Jordan. But he gave him a little rebuke. He said, my dear Shevet Reuven and Shevet Gad, your approach, your attitude is a little wrong. how did you present your case? What was the argument you gave? You said, let us build pens for our sheep. And then you mentioned your children. What I'm telling you is, you have to first take care of your families. Build the cities for your children, and then for your sheep. Of course, these were very pious people. Otherwise, their idea, their suggestion would have never been accepted, would have never been received. Yet, you can see that even in their great spiritual integrity that they have, as it's explained in the Kabbalah, that on a deeper level, what they wanted was to remain back there because they figured there in this territory, they can totally devote themselves to raising sheep, to raising cattle, which relatively to cultivating the land, to being an agriculturist, is a lot less intrusive and a lot less taxing on one's time, that they should be able to devote more time to Torah, more time to dedicated, devoted to meditation, to serving Hashem. And yet, what does Moshe tell them? Even though that's your primary reason, but remember always the children come first. Remember always the family. Of course, on a more elementary level, the way Rashi presents it, what he said to them is, you don't care about your money, you don't care about your cattle, about your possessions. First you care about the family. The order in which you presented it is wrong. However, even on a more virtuous level, he was telling them that even if your motivation is not about, of course, the money, it's not about the sheep itself, it's not about the worldly possessions, it's about what that will bring you to, meaning the spirituality, the study, the holiness, yet that should not come before the family. Of course, the family that comes first, it's all with the intent of having them harmoniously and in an enjoyable manner, enjoying all that you really care for, which is bringing them under the fold of Hashem into your spirituality with you. Shalom.